Welcome to NACI TV Reads the News. My name is Gwen Jacobsen, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACI TV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, our staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACI TV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. This week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press is dated Friday, March 10th, 2023. On the front page, it's entitled Neepawa Eats Healthy, marks official launch of Meal in 30 program. By Casper Werhan. Neepawa Eats Healthy officially kicked off its latest initiative late last week. Representatives of the health group gathered at Neepawa Safeway and the Neepawa Gladstone Co-op food store for the launch of its Meal in 30 program. The program provides customers with a recipe card for free each month at those locations, indicating all the ingredients necessary and associated instructions. For the Neepawa Community Ministry Center, it just makes sense to be a part of this initiative and to encourage people that food can be easy, cheap, fun, fast, and that a great meal can be made in less than 40 minutes. And affordably, said Amanda Nightingale, NCMC's Director of Ministries and Meal in 30 program partner. Norma Holmes, Senior Manager of Human Relations for High Life, which is also a program partner, added on behalf of the manufacturer, "We thought it was a really good initiative and that we could provide our employees and the wider community with some delicious tips and tricks." So here we have Norma Holmes and Amanda Nightingale, both a part of Neepawa Eats Healthy. What a great idea. Now we have someone surprised and honored. Troy Brister named 2023 Neepawa Sportsperson of the Year by Owen Devereaux. In a season filled with both team successes and individual accolades for his players, Troy Brister has recently received a little bit of well-deserved acknowledgement of his own. On Friday, March 3rd, the NACI Tigers hockey coach was named the 2023 Neepawa Sportsperson of the Year. The award is handed out annually to a person or people who have had a positive impact to the sporting landscape in and around our community. The award recipient was unveiled during the Neepawa Area 15th Annual Sports Dinner held at the Yellowhead Hall. Interestingly enough, the announcement of this year's winner had to be delayed ever so slightly, as Brister and the Tigers were on the other end of the building playing the deciding game of the first round series in the Westman High School Hockey League playoffs. Neepawa ended up winning that game and advancing to the next round of the championship bracket. After the game concluded, the players, parents, and supporters of the team brought Brister over to the hall for the announcement, which was a surprise to him. The team leadership group, which consists of Ward Brister, Jory Kulbaki, Rylan Sumner, and Tarek Lapointe, made the announcement of Troy's receipt of this year's honor. In their prepared speech, they commended Brister for his dedication to the program and, more importantly, to bettering the players both as athletes and as people. After receiving his award, Brister stated that he was completely blindsided by the acknowledgement and was at a loss for words. After gathering his thoughts, however, Brister did thank the team, his fellow coaches, and the families for their support of the program throughout the years. In speaking with the Banner and Press a few days after the award, Brister was able to expand upon his comments further. He said, "I was very surprised and honored to be this year's recipient of this award. It really means a lot to be nominated by such a great group of players, and to hear them speak about what being part of this team means to them is very humbling. Coaching is really more than wins and losses, and I try my best to instill this in the players I get to coach. It has always been my hope that any player I coach ends the year learning more than just hockey skills," said Brister. Brister, along with Kelvin Hollier and Dale Swanton, started the high school hockey program in 1998. After a 5-year stint, Brister stepped away to focus on coaching his 3 children through Neepawa minor hockey. Then, in 2019, he returned to the high school program and has co-coached the team with Mike Adams. The coaching staff for this season consists of Brister, Adams, and assistant coaches Chris Sitko and Chris Kolbacki. A few of the Sportspersons of the Year of the past have been Landon Cameron, 2022. Then during 2 years of COVID, there was no recipients. Scott and Candace Newton, 2019. Darren Rowe, 2018. Amanda Le Boutillier, 2017. Rodney White, 2016. Derek Pearson, 2015. Dave Clark, 2014. Keith Jordan, 2013. And Mary Ellen Clark, 2012. So we're going back, I guess, 13 years. All right. Back to that. Now, out of Helen's Kitchen. This is an article by Helen Drysdale, and this week it is featured on the onion. Onions are a member of the allium family and are one of the oldest cultivated vegetables originating in Central Asia. This pungent vegetable was regarded as important food, and in several ancient civilizations, they were bestowed with symbolic and spiritual meanings. In Egypt, onions with their layered circle within a circle structure were symbols of eternity. Egyptians painted onions on the walls of their pyramids and tombs, and onions were placed in the burial tombs of the pharaohs, who believed onions were a necessary item on their journey to the afterworld. The Egyptian laborers building the pyramids received rations of onions and garlic, as these vegetables were believed to keep the men fit and healthy for the hard work they did. In Caesar's day, athletes were fed a breakfast of nothing but onions before they went into any competitive games. In the Bible, onions are mentioned in several places. One such place is when the Israelites, led by Moses, were tired of eating the manna God had provided and complained of their desert diet. We remember the fish we ate in Egypt that cost nothing, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. The Greek armies were fed on onions to develop martial stamina and strength. It was said when the Greek army was advancing on their enemies, the smell of onions preceded the troops. Because of all the benefits of onions and them being easy to grow, dry, and store, you can see why they became so popular. During the 15th and 16th century, the Europeans were dependent mainly on 3 vegetables as a major food source: onions, cabbages, and beans. At that time, onions were used as currency in Europe, often exchanged for rent and other goods. It was also believed that the onion had powerful abilities as an aphrodisiac and were given to newlyweds as wedding gifts. By the 17th century, middle and upper class Anglo-Saxon Europe began associating onions with the peasant population due to the effect onions and garlic had on the breath and sweat of the people who ate them. They refused to eat them, saying it was socially impolite and a sign of low class. They were used to predict the upcoming winter. Onion skin, very thin, mild winter coming in. Onion skin, thick and tough, coming winter, cold and rough. Onions have impressive health and medical value. They are filled with vitamins, minerals, dietary fiber, beta-carotene, folate, and are believed to help fight inflammation, cut triglycerides, lower cholesterol, and help relieve pain. For many years, they were used as an antiseptic for open wounds of soldiers wounded in battle. In my grandmother's day, they were used to make poultices to relieve cold, flu, and congestion symptoms. A word of caution, onions are toxic to most animals, including dogs. As onions' pungency results from the level of sulfur-rich oils the onion contains. During slicing, the oil is released. The released oil is what causes eyes to water and burn when chopping an onion. I have never found a magic way to alleviate this problem and just suck it up and get the job done through my tears. Several years ago, a myth appeared on the internet that stated once an onion was sliced, the remaining unused onion was a hotbed for bacteria and should be discarded and not used later. This is not true, as onions are not vulnerable to bacterial compounds. The sulfur compounds in them are a repellent to bacteria. As well, bacteria like to grow on food with a high protein content, and onions have a low protein content. When you handle onions, wash your hands first, use clean utensils and cutting boards, and avoid cross-contamination with raw meats or eggs. Immediately wrap leftovers in plastic wrap or containers to prevent moisture loss and store in the fridge. Onions add flavor to such dishes as stews, roasts, soups, and salads, and are also served as a cooked vegetable. Here is a favorite of mine, and she has a little recipe called baked onions. There's onions, red wine vinegar, oil, brown sugar, dried rosemary or parsley, salt and pepper, and water. Cook it at 350 for 25 to 35 minutes. Remove outer skins before serving. This goes well with any meat dish. All right, next we have an article by Delcy Martin, Your Listening Ear. This week it's entitled Creating Shared Meaning. John Gottman, my personal guru of relationship therapy, talks about the importance of shared meaning and honoring goals in your romantic relationships. Shared meaning is the underlying values and ideals that individuals have when it comes to routines and rituals in the relationship. An example of this could be what level of emotional expression is appropriate when someone is upset. Quite often, individuals in romantic relationships have differing values and ideals about aspects of marriage. What these values are absolutely matters, but interestingly, what matters more is how these values are discussed and honored in the marriage. Differences in meaning can be more tangible concepts like the importance of having dinner as a family, or can be more abstract, such as, what is the meaning of love? There are three distinct entities in the romantic relationship: person A, person B, and the relationship itself. Person A and B have their own unique values that they are bringing to the table, but the romantic relationship itself can have its own unique set of values that are a hybrid of persons A and B. I think that it's important for us to acknowledge that our romantic relationship is not just two people coming together, but it's also the creation of an entirely separate union with its own energy, its own rituals, and its own way of behaving. Creating shared meaning is also about honoring your partner's life goals. Did you or your partner have the chance to pursue an interest or a goal that is completely autonomous of the relationship? Was there anything you feel you may have had to sacrifice for the relationship? Sacrificing for love is absolutely normal and is needed to an extent, but often people take the sacrifice of love too literally and give at the neglect of themselves. Studies show that women in particular feel that they are less entitled to pursuing dreams that are outside of the romantic relationship. We have a few roles to fill when considering our partner's life dreams, and I encourage you to fill whatever role or roles make the most sense for you. So there's 4 of them. So number 1, we are their biggest cheerleader. Even if we don't have interest in our partner's interest, what matters most is the interest that we show in their enthusiasm about their interest and actively making space for our partners to pursue their interests. Number 2, we are a validator. When times get tough for our partners while they are pursuing their goal, we are here to bear witness to their struggles and to validate and support the emotions they are having around those struggles. Number 3, we are a check and balance. Often, our partners ask us to walk alongside them in their journey to meet a personal goal because they trust us to be rational when they need. Signing up for a relationship doesn't mean we sign up for complete agreement with everything our partner does, nor does it mean that we don't say something if our partner is doing something harmful. And number 4, we are their safe space. At the end of the day, after your partner has gone through a whirlwind of emotion and processes trying to meet their goals, when they are looking for comfort, a place to relax and be their true self, they are coming home to you. You can be their safe space, their space person. This can be a daunting role to fill, but if you feel able, it's so vital to the mental well-being of your partner and overall well-being of the relationship. Next, Rural Outlet, Lion's Journey for Sight report by the Neepawa Lions Club. The Lion's Journey for Sight is a provincial fundraising event. All of the 50-plus Lions clubs in Manitoba participate with the Birtle Lions Club, which acts as the host committee for the annual snowmobile fundraising event. In addition to the many snowmobile riders who choose one of several established routes, the host Lions Club also conducts a raffle with a brand new snowmobile as a grand prize. Raffle tickets are distributed to all Lions clubs for sales in their local communities. All monies collected from the riders' pledges, donations, raffle and contributions from several sponsors are sent to the Lions Eye Bank. This annual event started in 1986. The Neepawa Lions Club acts as one of the host clubs for the snowmobile riders, whose ride route begins in Flin Flon, through Swan River, Dauphin, Strathclair, Minnedosa, Neepawa, Carberry, and ending in Brandon. After leaving Strathclair on the morning of January 21st, the riders arrived in Neepawa for a short break, refueling of their machines, and a lunch at the Neepawa Dairy Queen. While in Neepawa, a number of donations were made to the riders. The Prairie Mountain Snowdrifters Club donated $200. The Neepawa Gladstone Co-op donated a fuel credit voucher of $250 to the riders who use their own snowmobiles for the ride, and an additional donation of $250 to the Lions Eye Bank Foundation. A $50 donation in memory of Lion Arthur Harris was presented by his widow, Dorothy Smith Harris. The Neepawa Lions Club received 10 raffle books from the committee, and Snowdrifters member Roy Glowback sold all of the tickets, which resulted in a $500 contribution to the event. The Neepawa Lions Club set up a donation box at the Dairy Queen and received another $161.85 in donations from Dairy Queen customers. The Lions Club donated $200. The Neepawa Dairy Queen has been involved as a lunch host for the riders for a number of years, and in recent years had split the meal costs with the Neepawa Lions Club. For the 2023 event, manager Pam Brown decided, with the restaurant management and staff, to donate the entire bill for lunch meals to the Lions Journey for Sight. In addition to this Lions fundraising event, the Neepawa Lions Club has set up 5 collection boxes for used eyeglasses. Valley Optical, Murray's Optical, Neepawa Pharmacy, Harris Pharmacy, and the Neepawa United Church. Approximately 600 to 700 pairs of glasses are collected annually. The glasses are taken to Manitoba Lions Eye Bank office in Winnipeg. They are then sent to Calgary, where the prescriptions are recorded, glasses are repaired, and ready to be distributed by Lions International to third world countries. The Lions clubs in these countries sponsor local eye examination clinics where corrective eye surgeries may be performed, and the correct prescription glasses are given free of charge to those in need. The Lions International Eye Bank Foundation purchases surgical equipment where needed. In Manitoba, funds from the Lions Eye Bank are also to conduct professional eye examination clinics for preschool children free of charge to the families. These can be arranged by contacting any Lions Club for information. Some costs for eye surgeries may also be covered by these funds. Here's a couple of pictures. The Lions Club Journey for Sight fundraiser gained generous support again this year. Pictured here are snowmobilers beginning to pull out from the Dairy Queen parking lot in Neepawa. And here we have a Journey for Sight representative thanking a supporter before the group's journey continues. Provincial government unveils budget details. This is a media release from the Manitoba provincial government. To help Manitobans make ends meet, Budget 2023 delivers an unprecedented $1.8 billion in affordability and tax measures, while bolstering vital programs and services Manitobans most rely on, with a record-setting investment of $2 billion. This was announced by Premier Heather Stefanson and Finance Minister Cliff Cullen on March 7th. In the last year, the Manitoba economy emerged faster and stronger than anyone could have anticipated, with more Manitobans working than ever before, said Stefanson. Budget 2023 reinvests every cent of new revenue to help Manitobans and our most vital services, all accomplished while keeping the province on track to eliminate the deficit. It is a budget that will leave more than $5,500 in the pockets of the average family by 2024, while delivering across-the-board funding increases in all 19 government departments. Budget 2023 projects a $363 million deficit, down $15 million from the current 2022-23 forecast of $378 million, the minister noted. Budget 2023 includes the largest personal income tax reduction in Manitoba history. Changes to the provincial basic personal amount will ensure that Manitobans do not pay a cent of income tax on the first $15,000 they earn in 2023. This measure alone will save the average two-income family over $1,000 and will remove 47,400 low-income Manitobans from tax rolls. Changes to tax bracket thresholds in 2024 will provide even greater savings for Manitobans. At a time when Manitobans need it most, Budget 2023 will help people across all areas of family and community life while we work hard to create economic opportunities, Cullen said. This budget is about doing everything possible for Manitobans at a time when they need it most. At the same time, the Manitoba government is redoubling efforts to help heal the healthcare system, with the largest ever investment of $7.9 billion. That is an increase of $668 million to help shorten wait times and rebuild the front lines. Budget 2023 also initiates a $1.2 billion multi-year capital campaign that will add capacity to 9 facilities, including rural schools, hospitals, St. Boniface Hospital, Grace Hospital, Cancer Care Manitoba, and Health Sciences Centre, the minister said. Budget 2023 is making significant investments to heal health care in our province to help people get the care they need when and where it's needed, Collins said. We're making foundational investments to reduce diagnostic and surgical backlogs, hire more health professionals, and support health infrastructure needs. But we're also expanding coverage for diabetes insulin pumps and glucose monitors, and creating a new hearing aid program for Manitobans. The budget provides an historic investment of more than $100 million to address the challenges of violent crime and homelessness across Manitoba. We all want to feel safe in our homes, on our streets, and in our communities, Cullen said. Budget 2023 addresses the root causes of crime with significant investments in homelessness, shelters and housing, addictions beds, and enhanced services for mental health. There is also more for frontline police officers to fight violent crime. Budget 2023 reflects that a growing Manitoba starts with stronger communities and supports for affordable quality services close to home. Manitoba schools will benefit from historic funding, the largest increase in a quarter century, bringing funding for kindergarten to grade 12 schools to $1.7 billion, up $100 million from just last year. The Manitoba government is also well on its way to creating 23,000 affordable childcare spaces and will invest $76 million this year to introduce affordable child care 3 years ahead of plans in other provinces. Budget 2023 will provide more help than ever before for Manitobans with disabilities as funding increases to $640 million. Budget 2023 contains an historic investment of $217 million in total municipal operating funding, $47 million more than last year, and the largest increase in a decade. Millions more are earmarked for wastewater management, transit, and other capital projects, the minister added. From additional municipal funding to investments in education, childcare, disability service, arts, culture, parks, and the environment, Budget 2023 delivers, building stronger communities to improve the quality of life for all Manitobans, Cullen said. Future growth depends on creating new opportunities and continuing to attract skilled workers, the minister said. Last year, Manitoba welcomed more than 21,000 newcomers, including 14,000 people through the provincial nominee program. Already, 85% of these nominees have secured employment. As well, more than 17,500 Ukrainians who have presented at Manitoba's reception centre will continue to receive the province's unwavering support, the minister said. This is important as Manitoba expects to have 114,000 new job openings over the next 5 years. 3 in 5 of these jobs will require some form of university training. To meet this challenge head-on, Cullen said, Budget 2023 will invest $65 million more into post-secondary institutions and cap university tuition increases as 2.75%. This year's budget assists small business growth and supports the creation of new Made in Manitoba jobs by increasing investments in loans and guarantees by $27 million to incentive private sector investment in enterprises that can demonstrate significant sustainable growth and job creation. It also includes $15 million for the Community Economic Development Fund and $20 million to support economic development and investment attraction. The Manitoba government recognizes the need for new investment opportunities. Budget 2023 doubles the funds dedicated to venture capital to $100 million and eliminates payroll taxes for an additional 150 employers. The payroll tax rate will be reduced for the first time in 25 years in 2024 if the economy continues to perform as it has this year. The minister noted this is an important first step to phasing out this tax. To support growth, Budget 2023 invests a further $40 million to develop infrastructure to allow Centerport South to expand and will invest $147.6 million over 2 years to improve the Hudson Bay Rail to the Port of Churchill. Our message to investors is simple. Come grow in Manitoba, Cullen said. We are investing more than $2.5 billion in trade-enabling highway infrastructure over the next 5 years and making investments to spur economic development opportunities and generate well-paying jobs. Combined, the opportunities that lie ahead will support vital services, strengthen the government's fiscal position, and provide historic help for Manitobans. For more information on Budget 2023 and what it means to Manitobans, visit www.manitoba.ca. Now, we're going to be talking about the Manitoba Special Olympics by Casper Werhan. The Special Olympics Manitoba Provincial Winter Games made a spectacular return from February 24th to 26th. Over 300 athletes, coaches, and volunteers turned out to participate in the Winnipeg-hosted Games, the first in 4 years. Typically held every 2 years, the last competition was held in 2019 and cancelled in 2021 due to COVID-19. Among those in attendance were Coach Jean Hachowski of Minnedosa and head coach Natasha Moore of Erickson. Everybody enjoyed it. They've really looked forward to it. This was my second year attending the provincials too, with my first being in 2019. A retired nurse, Hachowski got her start as a coach when she saw the Special Olympics was looking for helping hands. She took courses and completed background checks alongside her husband Angus, who attended as a volunteer, and Trudy Adamson, head coach, in order to prepare for the role. Angus and I had 2 children that we followed with different sports and helped out in the past. My husband was coach of the youth bowling group, and being a nurse myself, I wasn't available the same time every week. So I wasn't able to get involved then, said Hachkowski, explaining what drew her to the coaching opportunity. She added, he wasn't part of my family, but I was raised with a fellow my age who was profoundly physically and mentally challenged. So I was used to being with somebody that was challenged, and being a nurse as well, it was something to do in my retirement years. While Hachkowski has attended the Games for a couple of years, this was a first for Natasha Moore. I have to say it was an incredible experience. I am humbled and grateful for the opportunity, said Moore. I hope to continue coaching Special Olympics and attending competitions for as long as I'm able. Moore added, I am incredibly proud of my team. Watching them cheer on their opponents was so amazing. New friends and new memories were made, and that's what it's all about. Moore is no stranger to coaching, however. The practice has been a part of her life in some form or another since she was a teen. And it goes on to say, Moore herself has coached alpine ski racing for 10 years and recreational gymnastics for a year. I really enjoy assisting with the learning process and watching an athlete master new skills, Moore enthused. Participation in sport is incredibly effective for not just physical fitness, but a number of other things such as learning to be a part of a team, focusing on a task, building character, social skills, setting goals, personal growth, and more. Moore added, I was drawn to Special Olympics through my family connections. My younger sister has competed in multiple sports back in Newfoundland for a number of years. My mom has been coaching for some time as well. Moore and Jacobsen were able to take 4 athletes and 3 athletes to the Special Olympics respectively. Moore's team was composed of Lynn Walker, Dorothy Lyon, Sheena Johnson, and Tracy Richardson, all of Touchwood Park in Neepawa. Jacobsen's team was Laura Guscott, George Morfitt, and Jason Camp. In addition to enjoying the athletes' village, both teams took to the bowling lanes, competing against their own personal averages. Both coaches were highly impressed by their teams, providing words of commendation. While neither of my team made it to the podium, they have a lot to be proud of. 2 of them played through illness and injury. One rolled her first strike of the season. They all exemplified superb sportsmanship and put their heart into it. It was a very exciting weekend. Jacobsen added, one of my athletes, Laura, brought home a silver medal. She was 94 pins over her average. She did really, really well. They all did really, really well. As a final comment, Moore wished to emphasize the need for volunteers on behalf of the Special Olympics. Whether it's for specific events or coaching on a regular basis, Special Olympics Manitoba is always looking for volunteers. There is a need for bowling coaches in the Neepawa area and for curling coaches to get a program running in Neepawa more stressed. For a couple of hours a week, you can help provide an athlete with the ability to participate in sport. I can promise you it will be a fulfilling experience where you'll be appreciated beyond measure. Anyone wishing to get involved can contact the Manitoba Special Olympics at specialo.westman@gmail.com. So there are a few pictures. Lynn Walker, Dorothy Lyon, Tracy Richardson, and Sheena Johnson, all members of head coach Natasha Moore's Special Olympics team. Here they posed together after the conclusion of the Special Olympics provincials. The team had fun among themselves, but also spread their joy to others by cheering on their fellow competitors. With such a spirit, it is clear they contributed in making the event enjoyable for all. And here were the other 2 pictures. Coaches, I don't know which ones they are. Pictured left, from left to right. Laura Guscott and George Morfitt, Jason Camp, and Jean Jacobsen of the Minnedosa Centurions. And here we have head coach Natasha Moore with her girls team preparing to enter the opening ceremonies. Oh, that's wonderful. Now, this is an agricultural article called The Basics of Regenerative Agriculture, submitted by Metro Creative Connection. Climate change poses a threat to various industries, not the least of which is the agricultural sector. agricultural industry insiders recognize that the changing climate has been forcing farmers and agricultural organizations to adapt and adjust for decades, and that need to be flexible won't change in the years to come. One of the changes many farmers may consider in coming years, if they haven't already, is a pivot to regenerative agricultural practices. Regenerative agriculture could have a profound impact on the world over the next half century, so now may be a great time to gain an understanding of the practice. So what exactly is it? Regenerative agriculture is a production system that focuses on reducing water usage and other inputs as part of a larger attempt to prevent land degradation and deforestation. According to the organization called Green America, regenerative agriculture is designed to harness the power of photosynthesis in plants to sequester carbon in the soil. The ability to do that can improve soil health, crop yields, water resilience, and nutrient density. Why should people be interested in this? Green America notes that regenerative agriculture draws down atmospheric carbon dioxide. That's a significant benefit, as climate.gov, which is a product of various departments within the National Ocean and Atmospheric Administration, reports that adding more carbon dioxide to the environment is causing global temperatures to rise. In fact, observations from the NOAA Global Monitoring Lab in 2021 revealed that carbon dioxide alone was responsible for about 2/3 of the total heating influence of all human-produced greenhouse gases. Green America reports that at scale, regenerative agriculture could help to reverse the climate crisis by drawing down atmospheric carbon dioxide. Another reason to consider regenerative agriculture is its connection to topsoil. Green America reports that the world is on the cusp of running out of topsoil, which is vital to growing food. Regenerative agriculture rebuilds topsoil, which can lead to greater food security across the globe. And finally, what are some regenerative agriculture practices? Regenerative agriculture practices include the usage of cover crops, a reduction in tilling, crop rotation, and spreading compost. Green America notes that regenerative agriculture practitioners also avoid the use of synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, and factory farming. As the climate crisis continues to challenge the agricultural sector, regenerative agriculture could help farmers and the larger industry successfully confront those issues. All right, more on the sports pages. So on Friday, March 3rd at the Yellowhead, the Junior A Hockey Club hosted their annual auction/year-end dinner, along with the Sportsperson of the Year, which we talked about previous papers. So these are the Neepawa Titans year-end awards. And of course, this is all for 2022-23. The Gary Ridley Memorial Volunteer of the Year Award went to Tammy Dudenhofer and Tara McCarty. The Most Valuable Player Award went to Briley Wood. Mary Ellen Clark was honored for her 16 years of service as a billet and billet coordinator. The Rookie of the Year Award went to Hayden Stocks. The Lionel Crowther Memorial Award went to Connor Thompson. The hardest working award went to Josh Romanek. The top Manitoba-born player went to Briley Wood. The Coach's Choice Award went to Cody Gwynison. The Most Improved Player Award went to Ewan Poirier. Ewan Poirier also got the Top Defenseman Award. And the Unsung Hero Award went to John Blake. And in these pictures, it is your coaching staff that is handing out these awards. Landon Cameron, Zach Hicks, and Ken Pearson. And still with sports, the Neepawa Titans have been eliminated from playoff contention by Owen Devereaux. The seemingly inevitable has happened as the Neepawa Titans have officially been eliminated from playoff contention with their recent loss to the Steinbach Pistons. The 7-6 defeat in regulation time on Sunday, March 5th, ensured Neepawa would be unable to reach the fourth and final playoff position in the MJHL West Division standings. With just 4 games remaining as of Wednesday, March 8th, on their regular season schedule, the Titans are 11 points back of the Dauphin Kings, who are currently in 4th place. If there are any positives to be taken away from the loss to Steinbach, perhaps it could be that the Titans nearly pulled off the upset over one of the best teams in the Junior A hockey. While the Pistons jumped out to an early 2-0 lead, Neepawa kept pressing their opponents, leading to a Parker Corman goal. The two teams then exchanged multiple goals to close out the first, with Hayden Stocks and Carter McLeod contributing for Neepawa. For the second period, the Titans went off with 3 goals, including a second on the night for Stocks, which brought the rookies' team leading total to 27 on the year. Cooper Kasprick and Briley Wood had the other goals for Neepawa, which put them up 6-5 after 40 minutes. For the third period, the Pistons pushed to find the equalizer and would eventually get it on a power play. Then, with just 1 minute, 5 seconds left in regulation, heartbreak for the hometown team and its fans as Pistons points leader Travis Hensrud cashed in on a rebound to make it 7-6. The defeat in regulation snuffed out Neepawa's hopes for spring hockey at the Yellowhead Centre. Earlier in the week, Neepawa traveled to Niverville to face the MJHL's newest franchise, the Niverville Nighthawks. In their first year of existence, the Nighthawks have been able to take advantage of a relatively weak group of clubs, with the obvious exceptions of Portage and Steinbach in the Eastern Division, and carve out for themselves a comfortable place in 4th place for most of the year. As for the game, Neepawa jumped out to an early 3-0 lead off a pair of power play goals from Briley Wood and a shorthanded marker from Cameron Trimble. Niverville replied back with 2 in the second before the Titans' Cody Gwynison picked up his 8th goal of the year to make it 4-2. For the final period, Gwynison and Wood had 1 more apiece, while Niverville would make it close with the pair of their own, making the final score 6-4 for Neepawa. So what's next for Neepawa? Well, the Titans close out the season with 3 of their 4 final games on the road. The last home game will be on Friday, March 17th, when they host the Selkirk Steelers. Start time will be at 7:30 p.m. Also, with hockey, this is the Tiger Hills Hockey League. Gladstone Lakers sweep Neepawa by Owen Devereaux. The second round of the Tiger Hills Hockey League playoffs has followed the exact same playbook as the first, with the higher seeded teams bullying their overmatched opponents out of the postseason. All 4 of the divisional semifinal series were 3-0 sweeps. In the West Division, it was the Minnesota Elkhorn Seahawks, who were number 1 seed, and the Killarney Shamrocks, number 2 seed, coasting to the next round, having yet to lose a single game in the postseason. As for the East, it was a similar script as the Gladstone Lakers, who were in number 1 spot, and Minnedosa Bombers, who were in number 2, also cleared the round without a blemish to their records. For Gladstone, that success came at the expense of the Neepawa Farmers. The third and what would end up being the final game of the best of 5 between the Lakers and Farmers was played in Gladstone on Wednesday, March 1st. Jesse Toth opened up the scoring less than a minute into the game for Gladstone to seemingly set the tone for the rest of the night. While Neepawa replied midway through the period with the Corbin Mariash goal, the Lakers' Stephen Cleason answered back just 47 seconds later. Toth would then score his second of the night a few minutes later to make it 3-1 Gladstone after the first period. In the second period, Gladstone all but ended Neepawa's season right then and there by scoring 4 consecutive times. Both Cleason and Toth ended up securing hat tricks, while Jory Geddes added one as well, just to change things up a little bit on the stat line. Lennon Carr got one back for Neepawa late in the second. Toth would score his 4th goal of the night and 7th of the playoffs in the third to give Gladstone an 8-2 advantage. Carr would get one more for Neepawa before the end of the game, but all that would do was make the final score 8-3 for the Lakers. The East and West Division Finals will both start on Friday, March 10th, with Gladstone to host Minnedosa and Minnesota Elkhorn having home ice advantage over Killarney. The Lakers-Bombers game will begin in Gladstone at 8:30 p.m. Game 2 will follow the next night in Minnedosa with a 7:30 p.m. scheduled start. There you go. Now, more on sports. This is high school hockey now. Neepawa Tigers advance in high school hockey playoffs by Owen Devereaux. The Neepawa Tigers have emerged from the first round of the Westman High School Hockey League, or WHSHL, with a well-deserved series win over the Bertle Falcons. The Tigers had to earn it, however, as the Falcons gave everything they could in the short but exciting 3-game series. For the first game, played in Neepawa on March 1st, the Tigers needed to go into overtime to pick up the 7-6 decision. Miles Willerton played the hero on this night, collecting the OT winner after nearly 15 minutes of extra game played. Tarek Lapointe, who assisted on the game winner, closed out the evening with an incredible 5-point performance, 3 goals, 2 assists. Riley Davey, as well as Cohen and Jory Kulbacki, had the other goals for the Tigers. The next game was in Bertle and didn't go as planned for the Tigers as they lost 5-2. Lapointe scored twice for Neepawa in the first period, but he and the rest of the team were shut down from there. Colby Asselstein led the way for the Falcons with a pair of goals and an assist, while his teammate Fred Hrykak came up short in the net with a 43-save effort. The deciding game was played at the Yellowhead Center on Friday, March 3rd, and saw Neepawa close out the series with a 7-4 win. After surrendering the first goal of the game midway through the first, the Tigers came back with goals from Callan Dembo and Cohen Kulbacki to make 2-1 at the first intermission. The second period turned into a shooting gallery with 6 goals registered, 3 for each club. Tristan Friesen, Riley Davey, and Jory Kulbacki all scored for the Tigers. For the third, Hayden Delaloy and Cohen Kulbacki contributed for NACI to ensure the game and series victory. The Neepawa Tigers now move on to the championship bracket semifinals, where they will meet the top team in the WHSHL, the Killarney/Wawanesa Raiders. Game 1 was played on Tuesday night at the Shamrock Center in Killarney. In that game, Neepawa were defeated by the score of 8-5. Game 2 will be in Neepawa on Friday, March 10th at 7:30 p.m. Game 3, if needed, will be in Killarney on Sunday, March 12th. Now, still with high school, but we're talking about basketball. A 14-point performance from Miko Kabakangan helped propel the NACI Tigers to a 64-54 victory over the Carberry Cougars in the Zone 7 Junior Varsity Boys Basketball Championship. Most of Kabakanan's scoring came in the first half as he tallied 11 points early. He did, however, add 3 more late in the fourth quarter to help ensure the win. Though Miko was the leading scorer on the night, this victory was definitely a team effort, with Trent Tomanico putting up a 10-point effort. Another notable part of the action saw Sami Oivoto come up with a big block near the end of the second quarter, dampening a Carberry comeback heading into halftime. Carberry, who held a 17-13 lead after the first quarter, were led by the solid play of Alex Prodden and Owen Unruh. Congratulations to both Neepawa and Carberry, who were far and away the best team throughout the entire regular season. Now we have a submission by Grant Jaime Hurl about Junior Varsity Tigers basketball. Thankful for the support. A very successful junior varsity boys basketball season culminated with the zone championship win when the NACI Tigers had a narrow win over Carberry Cougars. We had a strong roster of 20 players who worked extremely hard and improved weekly. I run a development program and played all of the players as evenly as possible, and I was really happy to see their improvement. We attended a provincial play-in tournament in Winnipeg and shortened the bench and fared fairly well, losing to the number 1 seed by about 20 points, and lost our second game in overtime, both to Winnipeg teams. A highlight was a tournament in Winkler, losing to the host team, Winnipeg versus Sanford, and losing to Steinbach. The teacher in charge complimented the boys on their decorum, and several of the refs took me aside and told me our boys were very respectful towards them, some of the best behavior they have seen recently. Thanks to the players. I probably won't pronounce some of these properly. Sami Oivoto, Yves Noglab, Yel Kilala, Yan Yana, Trent Tomanico, Anson Aglangio, Miko Kabakangan, Christian Gambino, Iris Regala, Roberto Seramonto, Oman Padad, Yuri Salta, Sid Morales, Cielo Dorato, Yuri Luna, Lance Macalindong, Creel Navarro, Leon Alvaro, Nico Carlos, Mark Mangeras, and Phil Soltis. Thank you for all your hard work and all the laughs we had. You guys are the reason I love coaching and can hardly wait till next season. A big thanks to parents, Kabagankan and Aglangyo, who provided meals to go on our trips to Winkler and Winnipeg, Tomanico Farms, who subsidized our Winkler accommodations. The biggest thanks goes to Sylvie Tomanico, our teacher/supervisor. This amazing lady put in countless hours, setting up our tournament, games, practices, transportation, basically everything. We couldn't have a season without her. Aw, that's wonderful. All right, I did that. Oh, and here's some more pictures. Sports pictures. NACI William Morton Collegiate win Zone 7 varsity basketball banners. Okay, so on the left here we have the NACI varsity boys basketball team who won Zone 7 championship on Tuesday, March 7th, defeating the McGregor Mustangs by the score of 57-47. Meanwhile, the William Norton College varsity girls team beat the NACI Tigers 55-44 to claim the Zone 7 championship as well. Congratulations to both teams on their achievements this season. Expanded coverage and additional pictures from both games will appear in the next edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. And here we have the Neepawa Ballers hitting the road. A collection of all-stars from the Neepawa Ballers Basketball League recently traveled to Brandon to take part in the City League tournament. It's the first time a group from the community have been asked to participate in the event. Additional pictures as well as the story of the day will appear in an upcoming edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. Cool. Okay, so we have a few minutes left, so we'll go back and read a couple of articles. The first one is Homebodies by Rita Friesen. It's entitled Sleepless in Neepawa. There was a popular mushy movie, Sleepless in Seattle, leading us to believe in the possibility of some positive outcome to sleepless nights. It's not working out that way for me. Insomnia has long been a part of my vocabulary and my reality. The worst years so far were the years of menopause. I would drop into an exhausted sleep around midnight, wake up at 1:30, fall back asleep around 5 or a bit later for extra fun, only to need to be up and at 'em by 7. Night after sleepless night, and I functioned at home and at work, and I didn't kill anyone. I have stopped checking my Fitbit app, which shows how much I sleep, how deeply I sleep, and what the national average of sleep is for people my age, old people. On the national average, I'm not comparing too badly, but the night's rest, the average night's rest, isn't what I desire. Getting to sleep is a routine, like most folks. My pillow has to be my pillow and perfectly fluffed and plumped. The blanket has to be just so, and then after reading for a reasonable amount of time, reasonable takes into consideration the time I head to bed and the time I need to get up, so that is a variable. And then the digital clock shows 3-ish. Sometime around 3, I awaken. On a very good night, I use the washroom, get a drink of water, and fall back asleep. Not often enough. It is not unusual for me to get up, read a bit, check on Facebook, derive comfort by the number of other accounts that are active that forsaken hour of the night, warm a glass of milk, play a few games, try to seduce sleep to be my companion. Some mornings my eyes feel sand-filled and my limbs leaden, but a home-brewed cup of coffee invigorates, stimulates, and enables me to face the day. I am aware I have lamented my sleep patterns, my lack of deep sleep with you in previous columns. I do take comfort that it is possible our ancestors had these midnight waking hours as part of their natural pattern, and only civilization and work weeks altered that by necessity. So what have I learned from this life lesson? Sleep is highly overrated? Nope. I value it. I have learned to accept being awake. The more desperately I attempt to fall back asleep, the wider awake and frustrated I become. I have known for most of my life that I am not a numbers person. Words are my strength. And so I play word games on my handheld devices. Yes, plural. There are several that I prefer. Knuckle, decidedly Canadian 5-letter words. Whoops. Octordal and sequence, both 5-letter Scrabble type words. And septal, creating the desired 7-letter word, followed by a 6-letter word, and concluding with a 5-letter word. Truthfully, there are times when I resort to the Scrabble dictionary before I get the correct answers. With the handheld electronic devices, I can find many ways to maintain my sanity in the wee smalls. 10 minutes left. Okay, I'll read Right in the Middle Center by Ken Waddell. It's become personal. The care of our elderly has a long history at Neepawa, and I will endeavor to try to accurately outline the events over the past 50 or so years. First, though, let it be said that there are many, many very dedicated, hardworking people in the healthcare world who work far harder than many of us can or want to in order to bring daily, competent care to our elderly. This is a marvelous and wonderful thing that we all need to be thankful for. What is frustrating is that there are many gaps that must be addressed. For whatever reason, some of our care homes are under a lot of pressure, and the trick is to identify the source. The unions and opposition parties would want us to believe that more money and a change of government would solve all of our problems. They may have a partial grip on the truth, but I think the problems aren't about to be solved that simply. I believe that the various stances by the unions in some cases contribute to the problems. We often hear about problems and gaps in elder care, and it seems to be related to a number of factors such as money, questionable rules, shortage of staff, and often incompetent administration. I would say that incompetent or ill-trained administration, aided by multiple and unnecessary layers of bureaucracy, lead to plain, ordinary bad administration. That said, running a care home has to be one of the most challenging jobs there is, but we know that, and therefore we need the most gifted administrators in those positions. Many things are going well in our care homes, but there is a huge need for improvement. If you don't believe that, then talk to any care home worker at any level. Their frustration level is very high. I apologize to readers from areas outside of Neepawa that when it comes to history of the development of home care, most of what I have to say next is Neepawa based. If possible, perhaps that experience can be applied elsewhere. Here is where it becomes personal. But becoming personal doesn't mean that my thoughts and experiences are not shared and felt by many other people. Personal in that I am getting to an age where care home residency could be any time due to age or if my health fails. Personal in that my hometown of Neepawa has had to fight every step of the way to get needs recognized and served. Personal in that a 30-plus year publisher and 2-term mayor, I have invested thousands of hours into trying to advance the cause, so to speak. I lost an election in 2002 over care home issues in Neepawa. In the 1960s, Neepawa, along with many other towns, didn't have a care home. The need was identified in that era by the Neepawa Area Development Corporation, or NADCO. Surveys were done, a board formed from area reps, money raised, a CMHC mortgage obtained, and Phase 1 of Eastview Lodge was built. The home was too small, almost as soon as it was built, and a second phase brought the home to 120-bed capacity. Later, the local hospital board and the EVL board combined. Still later, the government brought in regional health authorities and basically forced the local boards to give their facilities to the region. It started out as Marquette and evolved several times to what is now Prairie Mountain Regional Health Authority. A common thread through all this transition has been the competency levels. RHA administration has ranged from completely incompetent to highly competent. In my opinion and experience, current PMH CEO Brian Scoombar is very competent. Some may disagree. Today, Neepawa doesn't have a 120-bed care home, but 100 beds. The RHA says 9 are closed due to staffing shortages, but others tell me the number is a lot higher. The bottom line is that elder care is personal to me and should be to us all. We owe our elderly and ourselves a better way of doing things. In order to improve conditions, change has to come. And the disclaimer at the end of his article says, the views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and are not to be taken as part of the view of the Banner and Press staff. So with that, I am going to finish today's reading of the Neepawa Banner and Press. Thank you for joining us, and some will be around to read again next week, so join us then. Bye for now.